Brains slammed hard against the pavement as the old woman's scream tore through the night. "Help me! Please!" A van door slid open. 6 masked men dragged her toward it, their boots splashing through muddy water. "Move!" one of them barked. She struggled weakly. "Please! Let me go!" Then, crack! A wooden stick smashed into the back of a thug's head. He dropped instantly.
I said get back!
The others froze. Standing behind them was a young black nurse in blue scrubs, breathing hard, her hands shaking but her grip firm on the stick. "Let her go," Faith said. One of the men laughed, slow and mocking. "You serious right now?" Faith swallowed, fear rising in her chest, but she didn't step back. "I said, let her go." Another thug stepped forward. "You don't know who you're messing with." Faith tightened her jaw. "And you don't know who you picked tonight." The man charged. She swung. "Crack!" he screamed, stumbling backward. "Crazy girl!" another shouted. Faith stepped forward instead of back. "Run!" she yelled at the old woman. But the woman was too weak to move. All 6 men turned toward Faith. Her heart pounded violently. She knew she couldn't win, but she lifted the stick anyway. "Then come," she said, voice trembling but fierce. And they did. The first punch came fast. Faith barely saw it before it slammed into her shoulder, sending her stumbling sideways. Pain shot through her arm, but she gritted her teeth and swung wildly. Crack! The stick connected with someone's ribs. "Ah!" Another thug grabbed her from behind. "Got you." Faith twisted hard, driving her elbow backward into his stomach. He groaned, loosening his grip just enough. She broke free. Her breath came in sharp bursts. Her hands were shaking now, not just from fear but from adrenaline. "You think you're a hero?" one of them spat. Faith wiped blood from the corner of her lip. "No," she said, "I just don't run." They circled her, 6 against 1, rain pouring, the old woman watching, terrified. Faith's legs felt weak, but she raised the stick again. "Leave her alone," she said, softer this time, but somehow more dangerous. One thug rushed her again. She ducked, swung low. Crack! He dropped to one knee, another kicked her hard in the side. She cried out, falling to the ground. For a second, everything blurred. She could hear her heartbeat in her ears. "Get up!" she whispered to herself. And somehow, she did. Faith staggered to her feet, her body screaming in protest. "Stay down!" one thug yelled, stepping toward her. She shook her head slowly. "Not happening." He lunged. She swung again, slower this time but still precise. Crack! The stick snapped against his arm. He howled in pain. But now they were angry, really angry. "You're dead!" another shouted. They rushed her together. A punch hit her face. Another slammed into her back. She fell hard onto the wet ground, gasping. The stick slipped from her fingers. For a moment, silence. Then footsteps. One of them grabbed her shirt, dragging her slightly. "You should have stayed out of this." Faith's vision blurred. She could barely breathe. But then, the old woman's voice. "Please, stop." Something inside Faith sparked again. No, not like this. With the last strength she had, she reached out, grabbed the stick, and swung upward blindly. Crack! The man above her screamed, collapsing. Faith rolled away, forcing herself up again. Her entire body trembled. "You're not taking her," she whispered. In the distance, sirens. Faint, but getting closer. The men froze. "Let's go," one snapped. They grabbed their injured and rushed into the van. Within seconds, they were gone. Faith stood there, barely holding herself up. The stick dropped from her hand, and the rain kept falling. Faith turned immediately to the old woman. "Are you okay?" she asked, her voice unsteady. The woman stared at her in shock. You came back." Faith gave a weak smile. "Of course I did." She helped her sit on a nearby curb. "You're hurt," the woman said, noticing the blood on Faith's face. Faith shook her head lightly. "I'll survive." That wasn't entirely true. Every part of her body hurt. But she ignored it. "Can you stand?" Faith asked gently. The woman nodded slowly. As Faith supported her, the woman looked at her with something deeper, something emotional. "Why?" she asked softly. Faith paused. "Why risk your life for me?" Faith looked away for a second, then back at her. "Because no one else would." The words hung in the air. The woman's eyes filled with tears. "You're not alone anymore," she whispered. Faith blinked, caught off guard. Before she could respond, headlights flooded the street, black cars, several of them. They stopped sharply. Doors opened. Men in suits stepped out, scanning everything with sharp, trained eyes. Faith stiffened slightly. Something about them felt different, dangerous. Then one man stepped out last, tall, calm, controlled. The air shifted instantly. And when he spoke, "Mother," Everything became clear. The old woman smiled faintly. Jae-Min. The man, Jae-Min, moved quickly to her side, his composed demeanor cracking just enough to reveal concern. "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice low but urgent. "I'm all right," she said softly. "Because of her—" She gestured toward Faith. Jae-Min turned. His eyes landed on Faith and stayed there, sharp, observant, taking everything in. The bruises, the blood, the trembling hands. "You fought them?" he asked. Faith swallowed. "I didn't think. I just acted. How many?" "6. A brief silence followed. Not disbelief, calculation. Then something else, respect. "Most people would have run," Jae-Min said. Faith met his gaze despite her exhaustion. "I'm not most people." A faint shift in his expression, almost a hint of admiration. "I can see that." Behind him, his men stood still, waiting. The rain softened slightly. Jae-Min stepped closer. Faith instinctively tensed, but didn't step back. "You saved my mother's life," he said. Faith shook her head. "I just did what anyone should do." "No," he replied calmly. "You did what no one else would dare to do." Their eyes locked, and for a brief moment, everything else faded. Jae-Min straightened slightly, his expression hardening again. "Who did this?" he asked his men. "We're still tracking them, sir," one replied quickly. Jae-Min's jaw tightened. "Find them," his tone dropped colder, "and make sure they regret breathing after tonight." His men nodded immediately. "Yes, sir." Faith felt uneasy. "You don't have to do that," she said quietly. Jae-Min looked at her. "They tried to take my mother." There was no emotion in his voice now. Just certainty. "I have to." Faith didn't argue. She understood, even if she didn't agree. Jae-Min turned fully toward her again. "What's your name?" "Faith." He repeated it slowly. "Faith." As if committing it to memory. "I won't forget it." She gave a small nod, unsure what to say. Everything about him felt intense, controlled, dangerous, but not cruel. "You should get treated," he added, noticing her injuries. "I'll be fine," she replied. "You're not," he said simply. That caught her off guard. Before she could respond, one of his men stepped forward. "The car is ready." Jae-Min nodded, then without breaking eye contact. "Come with us." Faith hesitated. Every instinct told her to be careful, but something else told her she could trust him, just a little, and slowly. She nodded. The ride was silent. Faith sat in the back seat, her hands resting on her lap, trying to ignore the dull pain spreading through her body. Across from her, Jae-Min watched quietly, not staring, but aware. "You're not afraid?" he asked suddenly. Faith let out a small breath. "I think I passed that stage already." That almost made him smile. "Most people would be terrified right now." "Most people didn't just fight 6 men in the rain," she replied. This time, a faint smirk appeared on his lips. "Fair point." The car slowed as they entered a large private estate. Gates opened automatically. Guards everywhere. Faith's eyes widened slightly. "Where am I?" she asked. "My home," Jae-Min answered. The car stopped. Before she could fully process it, the door opened. "Come," he said. Inside, everything was calm, clean, controlled. A doctor approached immediately. "She needs treatment," Jae-Min said. Faith tried to protest. "It's really not—" "Sit," he said. Not harsh, but firm, and somehow, she listened. As the doctor began cleaning her wounds, Jae-Min stood nearby, watching quietly. "You didn't have to do all this," Faith said softly. Jae-Min shook his head. "I did." Their eyes met again. And this time, there was something warmer in his gaze. The room was quiet except for the soft sound of medical tools. Faith winced slightly as the doctor cleaned a cut on her cheek. "You should have stitches," the doctor said. Faith shook her head. "No stitches. I need to go to work tomorrow." Jae-Min frowned. "You're not going anywhere tomorrow." Faith looked at him. "I don't have that luxury." "You do now," he replied. She held his gaze. "You don't understand. People depend on me." "And my mother doesn't?" he asked calmly. That stopped her. Silence stretched between them. Faith looked down. "That's different." "No," Jae-Min said quietly. "It's not." The doctor stepped back. "She'll be fine. Just needs rest." "Good," Jae-Min said. Faith stood slowly. "Thank you for this, but I should leave. You can't even walk properly," he said. "I'll manage." She took a step. Her leg gave out slightly. Jae-Min caught her before she hit the ground. For a brief moment, they were very close. Too close. Faith's breath caught. "I said..." You're not fine, he murmured. She quickly pulled back a little flustered. I don't like depending on people. Jae-Min studied her. Maybe you just haven't met the right person to depend on. She didn't respond, but her silence said everything. Morning came too quickly. Faith woke up in a room she didn't recognize. Soft sheets, quiet space. For a second, she panicked. Then she remembered. The fight. She sat up slowly, wincing. A knock came at the door. Come in, she said. The door opened, and Jae-Min walked in, dressed sharply, composed as ever, but his eyes softened slightly when he saw her awake. You're up, Faith nodded. I should be leaving. You're not leaving, he replied calmly. She sighed. Jae-Min, I have a job. I can't just disappear. He stepped closer. You almost got killed last night. And I'm still here, she said. Barely. She looked at him, frustration building. This is my life. I don't run from it. And I don't let people who save my family walk back into danger like nothing happened. That hit differently. Faith paused, then asked quietly, Why do you care so much? Jae-Min didn't answer immediately. Instead, he said, Because you matter now. The words were simple, but heavy. Faith looked away, her heart beating faster. That's not fair, she whispered. Neither is the world, he replied, and just like that, the distance between them began to disappear. Later that day, Faith insisted on returning to the hospital. Jae-Min didn't agree, but he didn't stop her either. I'll have people watching, he said. I don't need protection, she replied. You do, he said simply. At the hospital, things felt different. People stared. Whispers followed her. Is that her? That's the one. Faith ignored it, focusing on her work, but she felt it. The shift. In room 12, the old woman smiled as soon as she saw her. You came back, Faith smiled warmly. Of course. The woman reached for her hand. You didn't have to risk your life like that. Faith shook her head. I couldn't just watch. The woman studied her closely. You're special, you know. Faith laughed lightly. I don't feel special. You are, the woman said firmly. And my son sees it too. Faith froze slightly. Your son sees a lot of things. Yes, she said knowingly, but not many people. That lingered. Before Faith could respond, the door opened. Jae-Min stepped in. His presence alone changed the atmosphere. Their eyes met instantly, and something unspoken passed between them. Jae-Min stood quietly for a moment, then walked closer. How are you feeling? He asked. Like I got into a fight with 6 people, Faith replied. He almost smiled. Fair. The old woman chuckled softly. You two talk like you've known each other for years. Neither of them responded, because somehow, it felt true. I came to take you home, Jae-Min said to his mother. She nodded. Only if Faith comes too. Faith blinked. Me? Yes, the woman said warmly. Your family now. Faith hesitated. I don't think... I do, Jae-Min interrupted. His tone wasn't forceful, but it left no room for argument. Faith sighed softly. All right, just for a little while. As they walked out together, Jae-Min stayed close to her side. Not touching, but present. Protective. You don't have to hover, she muttered. I'm not hovering. You are. I'm making sure you don't fall again. She glanced at him. You caught me last time, and I will again. That made her pause, just for a second. Then she looked away, hiding a small smile. That evening felt different. Calm. Safe. Faith sat across from Jae-Min, both of them quiet. You've changed things, he said suddenly. How? She asked. My mother laughs more. Faith smiled softly. She deserves that. So do you... She looked up at him. There it was again, that feeling. You don't even know me like that, she said. I know enough, he replied. Like what? He held her gaze. You're strong, but tired, she blinked, caught off guard. You act like you don't need anyone, but you do. Her chest tightened slightly. And you're the kind of person who would risk everything, even when no one would do the same for you. Silence. Faith looked down. You see too much, she whispered. I see what matters, he said. Their eyes met again. And this time, neither of them looked away. Days turned into weeks. Faith found herself visiting more often, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. One evening she stood outside preparing to leave. Jae-Min walked up behind her. You always leave so quickly, he said. She smiled faintly. I don't want to overstay. You're not a guest. She turned to face him. Then what am I? He stepped closer. Closer than usual. Someone I don't want to lose. Her breath caught. That's dangerous, she said softly. I know. Silence. The air felt heavier now. More personal. Jae-Min, she started. I've faced a lot of enemies, he said quietly. But nothing has made me feel like this. Faith's heart raced. You barely know me. I know how I feel. That was enough. More than enough. She looked at him, really looked at him, and realized she felt it too. The night was quiet. For once, no danger, no fear, just them. Faith exhaled softly. That night, I thought I was going to die. Jae-Min's expression darkened. Don't say that, but I didn't run, she continued. And somehow, it led me here, to me, he said. She smiled gently. To you, a pause. Then she added, You scare me sometimes. I know, but not in the way I expected. Jae-Min stepped closer. Then how? She looked up at him. You make me feel like I don't have to fight everything alone. That hit deeper than anything else. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. I don't want you to, he said. Their hands met, warm, steady, real. Faith, yes, stay. This time, there was no hesitation. I will. And just like that, the girl who fought 6 men with a stick, and the man who ruled in shadows, found something stronger than power. Each other. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Would you have fought or walked away?